So now we will move to the preparation of monoclonal antibody molecule. So in order to prepare monoclonal antibody, first you have to understand what is monoclonal antibody. Monoclonal antibody molecule means an antibody molecule that is specific for not the single antigen, but it is the antigenic epitope. It is specific for single epitope of an antigen. That means they can bind only, they can specifically recognize only a particular epitope present only in a given antigen. For example, if you need to prepare an antibody molecule against antigen A, if we need to prepare one antibody molecule against antigen A, then that antibody molecule will specifically interact with the particular epitope present in antigen A, not against antigen B, not against antigen C. That means one antibody molecule is specific for only one antigen, specifically for only one epitope. But if it is polyclonal antibody molecule, then you have prepared one antibody molecule that can bind to antigen A, antigen B, say antigen C. If this is the situation that one antibody molecule can bind to more than one antigen, they are called polyclonal antibody molecule. But monoclonal antibody molecule, monoclonal, that means it is derived from a single clone. It is derived from a single clone and thus specific for a single epitope of an antigen. So it is specifically interacting with one epitope of an antigen. So it is quite specific. If the antigen is present, they can bind. If the antigen is not there, they will not bind. But polyclonal antibody molecule can bind to more than one epitope. For example, consider the fact phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is a phenomenon by which your macrophage can engulf foreign particle. It is not selecting it is a bacteria, it is Bacillus subtilis, so I will phagocytose, it is E. coli, so I am not going to phagocytose. This is not the thing. If it is foreign particle, they will phagocytose entire, whatever the microorganism it might be. They will phagocytose Bacillus subtilis, they will phagocytose Bacillus stereothermophilus, they will phagocytose Bacillus pummilis, they will phagocytose Bacillus anthracis also, because all of them are foreign particles. So similar kind of phenomena may happen in case of polyclonal antibody. If an antibody that can bind to Bacillus subtilis, if an antibody that can also bind to the Bacillus stereothermophilus, if an antibody that can bind to say Bacillus ceras, Bacillus pummilis, Bacillus anthracis, something like that, if one antibody can bind to more than one antigen, they are called polyclonal antibody. But if you have produced some antibody molecule that is specific for only one antigen, more importantly for only one epitope of an antigen, they are called monoclonal antibody. So for research purpose, for identification purpose, it is very important that monoclonal antibody should be produced. Because say, if you want to detect whether you have a cancer cell in your body or not, you can add monoclonal antibody specific for the cancer cell. And by this way, if the antibody molecule binds to the cancer cell, you can detect that yes, this type of cancer cell is present. If it is a benign cancer cell, or it is a benign type of tumor, or it is a malignant type of tumor, you can detect. Or say, similar kind of infection is going on in your body. For example, in influenza infection and COVID infection, if we compare between the two infections, in both cases, similar type of symptom may happen initially. So in order to detect whether it is a COVID infection or whether it is an influenza infection, we can take a sample from your body and add a monoclonal antibody against influenza. And if the monoclonal antibody binds to that of the influenza, we can detect yes, it is influenza, it is not a COVID. So that is the importance of monoclonal antibody for the identification of a pathogen, for the identification of detecting pregnancy, diagnosis different tumors, and many more. So now we have described what is monoclonal antibody, and now we have to go for the preparation of monoclonal antibody. Say, whenever your B cell gets exposure of a particular antigen molecule, then after 4 or 5 days, this B cell will be differentiated to plasma cell and memory cell. So plasma cells, the function of the plasma cell is to produce antibody molecule. So they are producing antibody molecule. Specific for that antigen. So they are producing antibody molecules that can rapidly bind with that antigen and promote killing. But the lifespan of this antibody molecule, or lifespan of this plasma cells, basically, the lifespan of the plasma cell is only 2 to 3 days. That means after 3 days maximally, they will die. There will be no plasma cells to produce specific antibody for the given antigen. And that is the reason, if say you have produced some monoclonal antibodies, say monoclonal antibody molecule, the lifespan of the monoclonal antibody producing cell such as plasma cell is only 2 to 3 days. So by that time you can produce monoclonal antibody, and after that, due to the death of the plasma cells, no monoclonal antibody will be produced. So you have to again inject antigen in the particular individual, and the individual will produce again plasma cells after 5 days, and you can get monoclonal antibody again for the 2 to 3 days. So this is a problem, because the lifespan of the plasma cell is very short. If we increase the lifespan of the plasma cell by some way, in that case the plasma cell will live long, maybe immortal. If I made plasma cell immortal, that means it will not die. In that case, they will constantly produce monoclonal antibody for a long period of time, unlimited time. In that case, in industry, it is beneficial for you, because you need to produce antibody against the desired antigen. So you need plasma cell to get immortal properties. So immortal cells, a good example of immortal cell is myeloma cell. Myeloma cell is a plasma cell that is immortal. Myeloma cell is a plasma cell and that is immortal. So consider a situation in which this is the mice, experimental mice. You have injected an antigen to a mice, and antigen have 4 different epitopes, 1, 2, 3, 4 marked. The antigen possesses 4 different types of epitopes. You can see the structure of each of these epitopes are dissimilar. And that is why whenever you are injecting the antigen to the mice plasma cell will produce the 4 different types of plasma cell will be produced by the mice. One cell will produce for the one antibody molecule that is specific for the epitope number 1. Another plasma cell will produce specific type of antibody that is for antigen epitope number 2, and similar type of phenomenon may happen for the 3 and 4th number of plasma cell. So they can produce antibody molecule, okay, but the lifespan of this plasma cell is very short, and that is the reason why we now want to fuse this plasma cell with that of the myeloma cell, and the myeloma cell will provide the immortal growth properties to the plasma cell. The myeloma cell, upon fusion with that of the plasma cell, you can see it's the fusion. It is called hybridoma. It is called hybridoma. The hybrid cell, where two different cells are present. 50% of the plasma cell and 50% of the myeloma cell, as shown in the picture. That means it is a conjugated version of the plasma cell and with that of the myeloma cell. In that case, the lifespan of normal plasma cell was 2 to 3 days, and because myeloma cell is present, is conjugated with each and every cell, now the lifespan of the plasma cell becomes immortal because myeloma cell can provide immortal growth properties. So if we separate these 4 different cells from this test tube, say this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3, and this is the 4, and you can make clones of these antibody molecules. Clones means many copies. Clone means many copies of the antibody molecule. In that case, these cells will never die and they will constantly produce antibody molecule against the epitope number 1. They will provide the antibody molecule for the epitope number 2 for an indefinite period of time, because they are all basically immortal plasma cells. Immortal plasma cells. So this is the basic picture of how the monoclonal antibody can be prepared. But there is a problem. What is the problem? As per shown in the picture, I need to conjugate this plasma cell number 1 with that of the myeloma cell to get plasma myeloma hybridoma. But whenever you are mixing these 2 different types of cell, several things may happen. One is, one plasma cell can fuse with another plasma cell, one myeloma cell can fuse with another myeloma cell, and definitely the desired one shown here, that is plasma cell fuses with the myeloma cell. So actually 3 different combinations of cell can be produced whenever you are actually mixing these 2 different type of cell to each other. For fusion, you require some molecule like polyethylene glycol, PEG, polyethylene glycol can be used to fuse these 2 different types of cells. Polyethylene glycol can be used to fuse these 2 different types of cells. But during fusion, some unnecessary fusion between cells, different types of cells may happen also. One is the plasma cell fuses with another plasma cell, that is not desirable. Myeloma cell can fuses with another myeloma cell, that is also not desirable, and the desired one, that is plasma cell fuses with that of the myeloma cell. So now you have plasma hybridoma, plasma myeloma hybridoma, and myeloma hybridoma. So you only need this plasma myeloma hybridoma. You don't require this plasma, and you don't require this myeloma cell. So in order to eliminate these myeloma hybridoma cells and plasma hybridoma cells, what you need to keep these 3 different combinations to a specific media called HAT media. HAT is composed of hypoxanthine, aminopterin, and thymidine kinase. HAT is composed of again hypoxanthine, aminopterin, and thymidine kinase. So now, what is the importance of the HAT media? You have to understand that in order for a cell to survive, they need to produce their own genome, either DNA or RNA. In this case, it should be DNA because we are dealing with the mammalian cell. So a cell, whenever it grows, that means one cell divides to produce 2 cells, they are basically synthesizing their own genome, nucleic acid. So any cell need to produce adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine, nucleotides in their body, so that they can synthesize their genome, and after synthesizing their genome, they can divide. So in order to synthesize this adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, that means nucleotide biosynthesis, 2 different phenomena they can achieve. By the process of 2 different ways, they can synthesize this nucleotide. That means nucleotide biosynthesis can occur by two different pathways. One is known as the de novo pathway. De novo pathway. Another is known as the salvage pathway. One is called de novo pathway, another is known as the salvage pathway. So any cell, mammalian cell like mice or maybe human, you and me, we can produce nucleotide required for DNA synthesis, required for RNA synthesis by two processes. One is the de novo pathway, another one is the salvage pathway. So in this hat selection, it contains the middle one, A. A means aminopterin. Aminopterin is present. Aminopterin. This aminopterin is the inhibitor of the de novo pathway. This aminopterin is the inhibitor of the de novo pathway. As a result, cell will not be able to biosynthesize their adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine by the de novo pathway. And cell has to employ the salvage pathway because it is the only pathway remains. It is the only pathway available because you blocked the de novo pathway because the media contains aminopterin, which is an inhibitor of the de novo synthesis of nucleotide. So cell has to employ the salvage pathway. So to go for the salvage pathway, any kind of cell require two different enzymes. For progression to the salvage pathway, they require two different enzymes. One is known as the HGPRT, another is known as the TK. What is HGPRT? That is hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. It is an enzyme. Hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. This is required to carry out salvage pathway. And the second enzyme that is required to carry out salvage pathway is called the TK or thymidine kinase. Thymidine kinase. So these two enzymes are absolutely required by the cell to go for the salvage pathway because they are not going through the de novo pathway due to the presence of the aminopterin. They has to go for the salvage pathway. They has to go the salvage pathway for the biosynthesis of these all new for these nucleotides. Now the most vital part of the hat selection is that plasma cell, any kind of plasma cells contains HGPRT plus and TK plus, thymidine kinase plus. That means plasma cell can go for the salvage pathway. But myeloma cells are actually HGPRT minus. Whether they are TK plus or not, it is not essential. But they are HGPRT minus. Because myeloma cells are HGPRT minus means one of the vital enzymes is missing in myeloma cell. They are not going for the salvage pathway. So the salvage pathway will be blocked. So myeloma cell cannot grow in hat media because due to the presence of aminopterin, they cannot use de novo pathway, and now because they lacks HGPRT, hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase, the vital enzyme to carry out, one of the vital enzymes to carry out the salvage pathway. That is the reason why they are not able to go for the salvage pathway also. As a result, if you have three different hybridoma cells and put in a media called hat selection, as a result, no myeloma cell and myeloma cell will grow there because they are not able to synthesize their nucleotides. So in this way, you can elude myeloma cell. Plasma myeloma cell can survive because here the myeloma cell is conjugated with plasma and the plasma cell is HGPRT plus and TK plus. So plasma cell, upon conjugating with the myeloma cell, plasma cell provides the missing enzymes so that this conjugate can grow for the salvage pathway and can biosynthesize their own nucleotides. And by this way, myeloma cell can provide immortal growth properties to the plasma cell, so that now plasma cell can survive for an indefinite period of time, and as a result your monoclonal antibody production rate will be increased for a long period. Now you can ask, sir, this phenomena, this particular cell can grow in by the salvage pathway, but what about this plasma cell? They can also grow in the salvage pathway. But it is not a big problem, because we all know the lifespan of the plasma cell is 2 to 3 days. That means after 2 to 3 days, these cells will die, whatever the media it might be. So after 2 to 3 days, only those cells can survive that is a mixture of plasma into myeloma. Because in this case, the myeloma will provide the immortal growth properties, and the plasma cell will provide the missing enzyme for the myeloma cell. So together, this conjugated part, plasma myeloma hybrid, can go for the salvage pathway. So all of these things can be represented by this particular diagram. So this is the antigen. This is the mice. Mice has been injected with the particular antigen, and after that we have some plasma cell, red colored plasma cells that are HGPRT plus. That means they have hypoxanthine guanine phosphoriboside transferase enzyme to go for the salvage pathway. They can produce Ig plus. That means they can produce antibody molecule of our interest, and they are mortal. That means the lifespan is only 2 to 3 days. And now we have taken myeloma cells. Myeloma cells are AGPRT minus, so they are not able to go for the salvage pathway. They are Ig minus, they are not able to produce specific antibody of our interest, but they are immortal. So by using polyethylene glycol fusion, what we need to fuse the plasma cell with that of the myeloma cell, and this media is grown in a hat media, so that we can eliminate myeloma fusion, plasma fusion, but only the desired plasma myeloma fusion cell will grow in that media. Okay, so whenever you have that desired plasma myeloma fusion, you can take monoclonal antibody from there. You can take monoclonal antibody from there and use an experiment called ELISA or RIA. You can also perform RIA, but because here radioactive substance we are using, and that is the reason I will say ELISA is more prominent, because here no radioactive molecule is used. So take antibody molecule from this hybridoma cell, take monoclonal antibody molecule, and say this monoclonal antibody is specific for the targeted antigen. Whatever the antigen we choose initially, this monoclonal antibody that is produced by this fused cell will definitely, whether they can bind with that of the antigen or not, we can check the antibody produced by the antibody that is produced by the hybrid cell, whether this antibody molecule can bind to the antigen or not. We can detect this thing by ELISA experiment, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, or RIA, that is radioimmunoassay. So generally your is performed, and if you find by the ELISA experiment that yes, your antibody is binding with that of the antigen, provides a positive reaction. Your antibody upon binding with that antigen provides a positive reaction. In that case, now you can clone this hybrid cell to either mice or either tissue culture flux. Either this is the expand positive clones. Expand means you have isolated some positive result, you have isolated some cell, you have isolated some plasma myeloma fusion which is producing your desired antibody molecule that can interact with the antigen. You have tested by the ELISA experiment, you have taken the cell, this is the cell, and now you have to increase the number of these clones. You have to increase the number of these clones, so expand positive clones, and these positive clones can be done by using two methods. One is the tissue culture flux. So in tissue culture flux, the concentration of the monoclonal antibody was quite low, about 1 to 20 microgram per ml. But if you inject this inject this hybridoma cells to the peritoneal cavity of mice, and after incubation for some period, if you isolate ascites fluid, that is the fluid from peritoneal cavity, ascites fluid, in that case the concentration of the monoclonal antibody is quite high, about 1 to 10 milligram per ml. So by this process you can produce monoclonal antibody molecule, and that is the actual procedure of how you are producing monoclonal antibody molecule.